What elders wish they knew at 40. If you could sit down with someone in their 80s or 90s and ask them, what do you wish you had known at 40? What do you think they'd say? Most of us assume the answer would be about money, or success, or maybe something about retirement. But the truth is, when you ask people who have lived long, full lives, their answers are rarely about careers or possessions. They're about time. They're about health. They're about love, regrets, and the things that last when everything else fades away. And what's most shocking? Many of these lessons are things we already know deep down, but ignore until it's too late. Today, I'm sharing 6 powerful lessons elders say they wish they'd known at 40. Some of them are obvious. Others will surprise you. But all of them could change the way you live the rest of your life. Stick around until the very end, because lesson number 6 is the one that echoes the loudest across generations. It might completely shift how you see your future. 1. Time doesn't wait. The first thing almost every elder says will shock you with its simplicity. Yet it's the one we're most likely to ignore. When elders look back, their first regret is almost always about time. Not just how quickly it passed, but how much of it they wasted believing they had plenty left. At 40, you still feel young. You think decades stretch out ahead of you. You tell yourself there's always time to start that dream project, to travel, to call your parents, to make things right with a friend you lost touch with. But blink, and suddenly 10 years are gone. Blink again, and your kids are grown, your parents are older, and opportunities you thought you'd have forever are suddenly out of reach. Almost every elder says they wish they had acted sooner. Sooner to start the business. Sooner to take that trip. Sooner to mend broken relationships. They wish they hadn't put so much on hold for later. Because here's the truth. Later doesn't always come. Right finger if you're still watching, drop a #1" in the comments. It tells me you're here, you're listening, and maybe this hit home for you too. But time isn't the only thing elders regret not protecting. The next lesson digs deeper. It's about something most of us take for granted until it's gone. 2. Health is the real wealth. Almost no one at 40 thinks this will matter. But ask anyone in their 70s or 80s, and it's one of the first things they'll bring up. At 40, you might feel strong, capable, and maybe even unstoppable. But elders say the biggest regret of midlife is neglecting their health when they still had the chance. They wish they'd exercised more, eaten better, and paid attention to the little warning signs their bodies gave them. Many of them didn't realize how small habits, late nights, too much processed food, not enough movement, would add up over decades. The body that feels indestructible at 40 often feels fragile at 70. And once you lose strength, stamina, or mobility, it's hard to get it back. One man in his 80s put it simply, "I wish I treated my body like a long-term home, not a rental I could trash and replace." If you're in your 40s now, this is the wake-up call. Health is the foundation of everything, your freedom, your confidence, even your happiness. Elders say they wish they had protected it sooner. Right finger comment, #2" if this one struck a chord, because this is the regret that almost everyone shares. But as important as health is, elders say it's still not what matters most. What comes next has nothing to do with your body, and everything to do with your heart. 3. Relationships over possessions. Here's the part that hits hard, because it's about what really lasts when everything else fades. Elders rarely talk about wishing they'd made more money, bought more cars, or had bigger houses. Instead, they almost always talk about people. The people they loved, the people they lost, and the people they didn't spend enough time with. They regret chasing careers over relationships. They regret holding grudges instead of forgiving. They regret choosing stuff over shared memories. One grandmother said, "I can't remember half the things I bought, but I remember every hug I didn't give." That's the kind of wisdom you don't forget. So, if you're 40 today and you're working overtime to buy more things, stop for a second. Ask yourself, is this going to matter when I'm 80? Or will I regret missing that dinner with family, that game with my kids, that conversation with a friend? Elders are clear, possessions fade. People don't. Right finger drop a #3 inches in the comments if this one made you think of someone you should call today. But what about work itself? Careers define so much of our 40s. What do elders say about that part of life? 4. Work isn't everything. When elders talk about careers, it's not what you'd expect. Very few people regret not working harder. But nearly everyone regrets working too much at the expense of living. They regret missing school plays, skipping family dinners, or being too exhausted on weekends to enjoy the people around them. At 40, it feels like your career is the center of your world. You think the promotions, the recognition, the long hours will add up to something that makes it all worth it. And while work is important, elders say it's not everything. In fact, it's not even close. One retired executive said, "No one at my funeral is going to talk about my PowerPoint slides. Work matters. But life matters more." Right finger if this lesson hit you harder than you expected. Comment #4 inches below. But elders don't just regret working too much. They also regret not taking enough chances when they had the energy to do it. 5. Don't fear change or risk. This is the regret that stings the most. And it's one elders talk about with real pain in their voices. Many people look back and realize they stayed too long in their comfort zone. They didn't take the leap. They didn't move cities. They didn't start that business or write that book. They didn't say yes to the opportunities that scared them. Why? Fear. Fear of failure. Fear of embarrassment. Fear of change. But elders will tell you, failure is temporary. Regret is permanent. One man in his late 70s said, "I wish I had lived with more courage and less caution. I missed too many chances because I thought I had time." At 40, it feels like you can always wait. But elders say, don't wait. Take the risk now. Right finger if you're still with me at lesson 5, drop a #5 inches in the comments. It shows me you're one of the dedicated ones who stick it out until the end. And that brings us to the final lesson, the one that ties all the others together. It's simple. It's powerful. And it might be the most important thing you'll ever hear. 6. Happiness is a choice, not a destination. This is the wisdom that echoes the loudest across generations. And it's the one that can change everything for you right now. Most people at 40 say, "I'll be happy when I make more money. When I buy a house. When the kids are grown. When I retire." But elders will tell you that happiness never comes. Because the moment you reach one milestone, the next one is waiting. And if you don't learn to choose happiness now, you'll still be chasing it at 80. Happiness, they say, is not a destination you reach one day. It's a decision you make daily, to focus on gratitude, to see joy in the small things, to laugh even when life isn't perfect. One 90-year-old put it beautifully. Happiness isn't something you find at the end of the road. It's something you carry with you while you walk it. Right finger if you made it this far. Drop a #6 inches in the comments. You're the kind of viewer I love making videos for. So, what do elders wish they knew at 40? 1. Time doesn't wait. 2. Health is the real wealth. 3. Relationships outlast possessions. 4. Work isn't everything. 5. Don't fear change. 6. Happiness is a choice. 6 lessons that sound simple, but when you hear them from people who have lived it all, they take on a whole new meaning. The truth is, none of us can go back. But you don't need to. You can start today, living more fully, taking care of your health, choosing people over things, being brave enough to risk, and finding joy in the moment you're in right now. And if you know someone who might need this reminder, share it with them. Sometimes, one conversation can change the way someone lives the rest of their life. If this video gave you something to think about, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We've got more content coming to help you live with confidence, clarity, and wisdom. Take a look at the next video so you can tell me what you think afterwards.